And I was about maybe 6 months inside the womb. I'm like, okay, don't forget I'm here. Okay. This is Jesus walking on water. Why is it that white people are allergic to the sun? I was really angry. And I was going to use all of the knowledge that I had, and I was going to destroy mankind. I didn't come into this world the way everybody else does.
Oh my God. How did you guys come into this world? Do you remember how you came into this world? I do. I have came into this world the same way I currently live in it, screaming and crying like a bitch. If you know how you came into this world, you're probably on the right channel. And if you don't, you're even more on the right channel. Because today, I'm taking a look at someone I took a look at a few years ago. In fact, he spoke at Oxford. He could have spoke at Harvard, who knows? His name is Terrance Howard, and he also was an Iron Man. He also played a pump in Hustle and Flow, but right now he's doing his best role ever, playing a scientist gone rogue on Joe Rogan's show. I did not know this dude was so eclectic with his thoughts, and to tell you the truth, the reason that I actually wanted to revisit Terrance Howard and look at his pretty crazy theories was that I actually got comments saying, I bet you feel stupid now, huh? And then I realized those guys weren't joking. So I had to look at the interview myself. It was a 3-hour-long interview. If you have 3 hours, you should definitely check it out. But if you don't, you've come to the right place, because I'm gonna be trying to make sense of what Terrance Howard said. Now, I want to go into this with an open mind, because clearly this man is like committed to the bit. I mean, if it's a role, he definitely deserves an Oscar, and if it's not, oh my God, Albert Einstein has some problems. But Terrance Howard is gonna disprove gravity. He's gonna disprove why life is life. He's going to talk about the flower of life, which just sounds tasty. And he's going to talk about other theories that disprove scientists like Albert Einstein and Neil deGrasse Tyson. So this is a big one, guys. If you haven't subscribed, I hope you do. If not, you can also follow me at 16leo on my Instagram. That way you could tell me if you like the video or not. Or if you don't like this and you think his theories are right, I would like to hear about it, to be honest. I also got a list. It's called Shit Terrance Says, because I'm going to try and make sense of this. Really, starting with him remembering exactly how he was born. Let's go, Terrance. Let's go.
My first memory was I was inside my mother's womb.
I'm so glad he said womb at the end. So his first memory was before he was born. I didn't even know that your brain could function like that. Now, again, I'm not Terrance Howard. Otherwise, I'd be sitting on Joe Rogan smoking crack. But I'm not doing that. I'm just here absolutely flabbergasted that you could have memories. And Terrance Howard seems to be the only person who has a memory of before they were born. I can imagine what it would feel like, but I don't think I have like vivid memories. I didn't know you could do that. So Terrance Howard remembers before he was born. That's cool. For birth. You know how you guys get like BC, AD? This is BT, before Terrance, and AT, after Terrance.
And I was about maybe 6 months inside the womb. I'm like, okay, don't forget I'm here. Okay. Now something's moving in front of you, and you're like, oh, that's my friend.
Oh, I thought he was talking about all the spermsies. And I was like, that's crazy, because he's already 6 months. I think he's talking about his hand. Sorry.
But I had a different name for it. I didn't know it was my hand. Ultimately, you get ready to come out.
So at 6 months old, he was doing this, the same thing that John Cena did at like 26 when he entered WrestleMania and became the greatest wrestler of all time. What do those things have in common? A fucking nothing. But this is kind of the same train of thought you have to follow when watching this. If you actually are trying to connect the dots, you might as well be watching a show that makes sense. This is not that.
You remember coming out?
Remember being compressed, and there's... You want to panic, but you're flooded with like some serotonin and dopamine to where you feel relaxed. You go right back to sleep. You remember being born. I remember...
Damn, that's crazy. I don't even remember like what I ate last week. This dude got memory. Elephants are like shameful compared to Terrance Howard. That's how they like, elephants have the best memory. And then now they need to upgrade that to like Terrance Howard specifically has the best memory than elephants, than other normal human beings. He remembers being compressed. I didn't even know that you could use that sentence in conversation. Can you imagine like going on a first date and she's like, what's the most interesting thing about you? And you're like, I remember being compressed out the womb. And then like you watch her leave. That's crazy.
Being circumcised, I remember.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess that's a pretty painful memory. That was TMI, but all right.
I wanted to prove to her what I was talking about. So I put a light on her stomach every day at 6 o'clock at night. And I would move that light back and forth and I'd put a song on. After a week, I didn't put the light and I didn't do the music.
By the way, Joe Rogan hasn't asked anything. I think he just said hello, and he might have asked a question like what's up? How'd you stop this? And now we're talking about him remembering his birth and then actually making his son remember his birth or something. Terrence Howard is like self-sustaining. You don't have to ask questions to get answers from this man, which is kind of good. But also, like, if he was, let's say, like, there was a crime committed and Terrence was the only person who saw something and you had to question him, you'd get a lot of thoughts on, like, gravity and stuff that had nothing to do with the crime. But he'd tell you how the bullet got there.
He pushed up on her stomach. That maybe I've interfered with the development process and maybe he's wrapped the cord around his neck. I shouldn't have done all of this, but it came out wonderful. And
oh my God. Terrence Howard is scaring me within the first minute. I was wondering if he managed to somehow ex-nay his child before it even came out. How'd you, Terrence? God damn. All you had was a light and some music, and you almost managed to kill someone with light and music, two of the most positive things in the world. God, this dude is crazy. If you think this is crazy, by like the middle of this, he says something that like just blows my mind. But anyway, so he's like trying to talk about his kid kicking, which I think is a normal thing that I don't think that's necessarily like you have to remember being in the womb to kick. But I guess if his son comes out and remembers the kick itself, then that would be pretty cool.
his personality is like Forrest Gump.
Oh, oh, okay, Terrence. Really... How do you react when someone says that about their own kid? He's like Forrest Gump, but black. He's like the Bubba. Oh, okay, Terrence. I think he's trying to compliment his guy. I mean, Forrest Gump, great movie, right? But I don't think I've ever heard anyone try and compare their son to Forrest Gump. Like, that's like, woo! My greatest hope is my kid turns into Forrest Gump. That came out of left field. All right, Terrence.
I had another dream. The room filled up with like this fluid, a dark fluid, and there was a being there. And I remember being walked through that fluid with him.
Oh, I thought he said bean. Oh, like, man, this guy's hungry as hell. He remembers at 5 years old, like liquid in a bean. Okay. So I think he's talking about God now. I'm kind of lost here. I don't know if you're still following. If him and Kanye West had a conversation, this would like transcend time and space. Honestly, I think someone needs to put them two in a room.
He said to me, if you could have anything in the world, what would it be?
Damn, who is this guy? And he's asking a 5-year-old kid that question? This dude isn't even 5 years old, and he's already getting asked existential questions about life. No wonder Terrence is like talking about the square root of pi and all that shit. When you're 5 years old, people ask like, how was your day? Not like, what do you want in life? He's not even lived that long.
Now, we were really poor. My dad had just gotten out of prison, for manslaughter.
Right, of course, he said that so matter-of-factly as well. My dad had just gotten out of prison, manslaughter, again. The third one, you don't even go to jail. The judge lets you off because you get the coupon. That's crazy.
I want to know how everything works. He used his left hand and he opened up the door.
Okay, so Terrence answered, I want to know how everything works, which, again, he's like a savant. At 5 years old, to answer that, because if you asked me, I would have said Tonka truck, easy, or Bob the Builder hat. Those are the two things that I would have wanted at 5 years old. And if you asked me at 25, I'd be like some ass. There's no way. Even at 55, I'd be like, I'd like my legs to not make that crunching sound every time I walk. Like, I don't know if there's really like a time and space that I would be like, I want to know everything. Doesn't sound like something someone would say, but I guess Terrence really wanted to know. I guess, okay, 5 years old, God asked what he wanted, and he said, I want to know everything. That's baller, man. How do we know this is not Jesus? I'm just saying. Terrance Howard remembers before birth, talked to God.
I woke up from that dream. But after that moment, anytime something strange would happen in a dream, I had the powers of inception. Anytime I would be naked at school.
What? Whoa! You had the powers of inception and you got naked in school? What the hell are you talking about, dude?
I would say, I'm not naked.
Oh, okay. All right, jump the gun there, my bad. I'm not naked, you're naked.
I must be dreaming. And immediately I would run out of the school or run out of wherever I was, and I would find that mansion again. And I had access to all the knowledge.
Yeah, of course. Let's all pretend like we know what the fuck what that sentence was about. All right, so apparently if you're naked in school, the first thing you do is you say, I'm not naked. This is a dream. And then you just run to a mansion. So that sounds like an Epstein problem to me, but all right.
The proof of it is the industries that I've innovated.
These are things that you had in your mind.
Oh, I forgot he was in this. I've just been talking for so long. I forgot. Joseph was back. Every now and again he asks a question and you can see the lines between his eyes struggling because he's just trying to comprehend what the hell is going on. I know. Everyone is trying to figure out. Terrance clearly is committed, like I said, to what he wants to say. He's definitely standing on business, and for that I genuinely commend him. It's pretty hard to convince people who are pretty set in their ways about stuff, but honestly some of the stuff is just going over my head. I might be too dumb though.
Before that time, because I remembered that I had been someplace else before. Now, what's interesting, that voice that I heard, that's my voice now.
Oh my god, just become a screenwriter, dude. You honestly, clearly, you're doing so well at this. People are waiting to hear the Terrance Howard story. What are you doing not writing stories? You're busy being an Iron Man and getting cut from that, but really, the voice was me. That's a movie trailer, Terrance. So that was him in a past life. It wasn't God. He talked to himself. That's even cooler, man. What? Terrance, remember? Terrance went back in time. This sounds like Christopher Nolan should direct your life, bro. This is like the Terminator and shit. This is, wow.
And I went off and became an actor because my mother wanted my little brother to be an actor. And I thought if I became an actor, I would get my mother's affection. She told me.
Okay, that's a weird tangent that I didn't know any of that existed until he said it, but imagine wanting to know everything, running out naked, and then becoming an actor. That came out of left field to me, but all right. He wants to win his mom's affection, so he acts.
And I realized, my God, if I had followed my proper course, I could have saved my mother, because the knowledge that I had, I had the grand unified field equation.
Okay. There's a lot to unpack there. That's a lot of luggage that you brought with you there, Terrance. Okay, so he became an actor to get his mom's affection, but he says really what he should have done was gave her that grand unified equation, because that would have saved her life. I can't dispute that logic. Everyone deserves the grand unified equation, I guess. Okay, so now we get into the science stuff. We know a little bit about Terrance's life. He remembers everything. I guess he hears himself in dreams somehow, and his dad didn't think his brother was his brother, but was completely convinced Terrance was his kid. So there's a lot of gray area, a lot of questions there, but now we're moving on to Terrance Howard rebuilding the periodic table. And to be fair, he does cite a lot of reading in this that I would feel remiss to say if you didn't actually read up on it, then you wouldn't have any knowledge of this stuff. So he's either someone who actually is studying a lot of this stuff in his spare time, or smoking hella weed and reading conspiracy theorists. Because I'll tell you, the two people that fully believe this are my two friends who rip the bong every time. They genuinely, I'm not going to say their names, but they absolutely believed everything he said. And if I asked them to repeat it, they couldn't, because they couldn't even tie their own shoelaces because they were so fucking high. But it's making sense to them.
But they don't show that hydrogen has the same tone as carbon.
What do you mean by tone?
Same tone, same key of E.
It's the same key of E. What he's talking about is music. Did you guys see that? He combined science and art. This is the real mother effer right here, bro. He combined the two fields. That's crazy. Usually you're either artistic or scientific. He's both. He's artistic.
You keep dividing light by 2, and you'll ultimately get back to the audible sound of it.
Okay, well, I've learned something new today. If you ever learn anything from Terrance Howard, if you divide light by 2, you get sound. I don't know how we can practically use that theory, but I guess if I divided yellow by 2, I get the sound of yellow. So the sound of music is, I guess, a frequency like 120 hertz. Thanks, Terrence. That movie had no fucking question, but I guess I answered it anyway.
As you reach into the next octave, the carbon octave, and they call that a bisexual tone.
Oh, God. Okay. Well, I don't know about that part. Like, we're just getting into how light divided by 2 equals sound, but now we're turning sound into sexuality. So basically, it depends. Are you a bisexual yellow? If not, you're probably a deeper sound than that. I don't...
Because the carbon has 2 tones to it. It has a negative side and a positive side.
I don't know if bisexual means 2. I think bi means 2. Or just saying the word 2, like 2-tone watches. Nobody says I have a bisexual watch. Unless it goes both ways. I don't...
Part where lithium behaves. Lithium is contractive. Beryllium is contractive. Boron is contractive.
I feel like a fucking boron watching this, to be honest.
But the moment you get to carbon, you balance it out. It gets to a perfect balance of plus and minus 4. So it's a double tone. Then nitrogen is minus 3, minus 3, oxygen is minus 2, fluorine is minus 1.
This is like when you sit with your friend and they smoke way too much and you don't smoke anything. And then they start talking. And after like maybe 2 minutes, you realize there is nothing that they can say that makes any sense to the world you're in, because right now your friend is in a different plane and whatever they're saying is making complete sense to them, and to you it just sounds like and this is kind of like what I'm hearing. I don't know if it's just that I'm not high enough, or maybe he's not explaining it to someone as layman as me, but like I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out how he turned blue into a damn sound. That's so crazy. You mean to tell me Akon, a black man, could convert his name to like a sound? That's wild. Brown people are sound people? Is that a thing? I don't...
Balance of this, all of those are mates. Fluorine and lithium.
You're not white, you're just high frequency. Is that, I don't know if that's like is that a positive thing to say to someone? I love your frequency because of your skin color? No. That's probably never a good thing to say, is it? Wow. Wait, does that mean if you times sound by 2, you get light? So if I hear like bass and I like times it by 2, I'm like, that's dark. That's a black bass right there. That's a white guitar sound.
Because the universe is based off of equanimity, which Einstein left out in his theory of relativity.
Oh shit, shots fired. Einstein, suck it. Yes, finally, I got to say that. Didn't think I would, but apparently Einstein left something out. Casual. What a casual. Thanks, Terrance.
Electric force. Electricity is always seeking a higher pressure condition. It spins northeast, is trying to get to the center of an area, the center of a cone. What happens when we get older?
Balls shrink and you just don't use your dick anymore. I don't know if that's really relevant, but he's now going to try and disprove gravity, which is something he's been trying to do pretty often. Like he went on The View, which is the wrong place to speak scientifically. Let's be honest. I don't even like those girls, but like Terrance, that was the wrong place to reveal your shapes. Then he went on to Oxford, where people probably had a preconceived notion. Finally, he's in the right place, Joe Rogan, who not only accepts some pretty out there theories, but is pretty understanding, which I would say, fine. It's a good thing. I think everyone should go in with an open mind. But at the same time, can someone explain what the hell Terrance is talking about? I'm not really sure. I don't even know if Einstein, what his theory was. I mean, everyone knows E equals mc squared, but I don't know how to disprove that. Terrance does, though.
We expand at our equator, right? We get shorter at the top. Why? Because the electric force is pushing in and condensing, and the magnetism expands out at the equator.
Holy shit, I'm not fat, I'm just magnetized. Okay, Terrance. That's not an obese person, that's just a highly electrified human being. Thank you, Terrance. That's a good body positivity from Terrance Howard.
But it hits our magnetic field, and then it gets pulled right back in and gets compressed again, and now it becomes electricity.
Okay, I feel high watching this now. I was really trying to understand what he was saying. Because like, you know, I'm trying to like make these parallels. I'm like, okay, when we get older, we do tend to shrink. I know they say that your ears and nose never stop growing. That's why when you're older, they do increase in size. And I guess posture changes, hence the height loss. But according to Terrance, it's just you get magnetized and devitalized, and it's something else. I also peeped that he's wearing a square root shirt, which is baller.
And then it pushes itself right back out again at the equator. The equator is 5 miles wider than the poles. The Coulomb force.
What poles? The South Pole? Then what pole? What? It's so hard to understand sometimes.
We're blind cosmically, but we judge everything by what we see.
Oh, okay. That sound where Joe Rogan was having like a orgasm there. That actually is the same sound that I would be making, because I think on a logical level that we can all agree we're pretty blind cosmically. That's one of the things that I can definitely actually agree with, because I can understand it on a molecular level. So good work, Terrance.
That talks about expansion. It does not show how it's divided. If ever you've never breathed in twice without breathing out.
I guess there's no purpose to it, but it's not impossible.
Expanding out, breathing out, and it's going to dissipate out, and they never include the contractive side of it, breathing in.
Wait, does the earth breathe? Wait, what? Hold up, I need to ask someone really, really important. Okay, this is a thing that I got, and he's smart. He knows. Excuse me. Does the earth breathe, sir?
I don't feel comfortable talking in front of all these people, Daddy. What if they make fun of me? I am just a little guy with little dreams, and my feelings are fragile.
He's shy.
And we never include the curvature, the breathing in. Like Alan Watts said, no one would be attracted to a Euclidean woman.
Oh, shit. Those are bars from a scientist. You didn't know scientists could rap. What was it? Nobody would be attracted to a Euclidean woman. Oh, shit. Look at me. I'm Euclidean German.
Because she would just be straight.
Okay. I see. Okay, that's a scientific way of saying she got no ass. I got it. I need to add that down and write that down. That's a good one. What a really pragmatic way to say that you have no curves. Nobody would be attracted to a Euclidean woman. I didn't know he was spitting game, but I'm gonna write that one down. That's a good one. Nobody would be attracted to a Euclidean woman because she's straight. Yeah. Who knew shots were gonna be taken at Albert Einstein, Isaac Newton, and women who don't have that ass?
And one of the quotes that Einstein says on his deathbed, I should have spent more time reading Walter Russell's work.
So I thought when he said that, I was like, that seems like an odd thing to say. Like, yeah, on your deathbed, I wouldn't be like, oh my God, I should have spent more time listening to Vanilla Ice. Like, that's not, I don't think anybody like on their deathbed says that. So I looked it up, and apparently, according to Secretary of Albert Einstein, even though he said it in German, the translation is said to have been I am at the mercy of fate and have no control over it. And I read another book I'm currently reading. Apparently, on his deathbed, he was trying to figure out another equation to connect like different theories as he was passing away. So like, Terrence Howard should have been like, do you know what Albert Einstein said before he died? Should have watched Iron Man.
Fundamentals of God that he used to build. If you tap onto the Flower of Life, Platonic Solids things.
So Terrance also writes a book, but it's on a PDF, and I sometimes try and read it when I feel crazy, but I haven't begun to make sense of it yet. But he seems to, again, be passionate about this. And that is the one thing that is just hard to fault this guy on. He's not necessarily hurting anyone, so it's very hard to be like, this is someone who's an evil person, or we should all shun away from him. He's trying to teach his theories to the world. Most of us don't know what the fuck is going on, but like, he's passionate. There's a lot of actors who do worse things with their time, so I don't hate it.
They averaged the space where they met, and they invented straight lines.
Oh, Joe really liked that one. From what I can deduce from this section, he says lots of circles make a straight line. Okay. Unqualified to say whether that is true or not, but I feel like some people would be pretty annoyed that someone says that.
This is hydrogen. And as I was saying, electricity is always trying to get to the center of that triangle. But what makes more sense?
I don't know, man. That's crazy. Okay, so 4 bubble spaces. Oh, wow. Okay, all right. So this is a space between bubbles. When your child is blowing bubbles, that's what he's doing. He's making hydrogen bombs. Don't quote me on that. But oh my god. Okay, this is a lot to take in. I have never thought like I need to take a whole lot of Anvil while I'm watching Joe Rogan, but here we go.
How is this received?
I reached out to Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Okay, so now we're on to the next part where Terrance actually pulls out a box of these shapes that he made. He's now the creator of these shapes. I guess he patented it, and he took it to Neil deGrasse Tyson. I don't know if he's just saying his name wrong on purpose. I've never heard someone pronounce it like that. I guess he's just using the Spanish pronunciation, which is not correct because Neil deGrasse Tyson isn't Spanish. So
I saw him at an event up front. I started it off with 1 × 1 = 2.
gangster. Walk up to Neil deGrasse Tyson and say, 1 × 1 = 2, bitch. And then just proceed to watch the mustache burn off his upper lip. Good work. That sounds like a confrontation between 2 gangsters. I mean, geeks.
How is 1 × 1 = 1 part of the multiplication table? Now,
I don't know what he said, but I wrote this down. Multiplying by 1 is the unity for multiplication. Mean if you multiply by 1, you get the same thing. 0 is the unity for addition. So I guess you get a unity value and then the actual thing. I don't know. I didn't hear Terrence Howard say this, so I just put that there. Again, all you mathematicians probably know better than me, but if 1 × 1 doesn't equal 1, I'm suing my public school, and I might get that $50 I spent on education back.
I used to have really thick, dark circles under my eyes.
And then he started using 1 × 1, and now he doesn't. L'Oreal, get back to mathematics, okay? Einstein had those bags over his eyes because he was doing maths wrong.
That's gone away in the last 6 months. I've been using that.
He's using 1 × 1, no more bags under your eyes. The only bags you have is the money bags once you realize that you can make so much more money when 1 × 1 = way more than that.
My skin, I'm 55 years old. I'm 55 years old and I smoke.
Crack. No, it's just cigarettes, my bad, sorry.
I was 256 pounds.
Were you eating differently?
That's because of her. I still smoke my cigarettes.
He looks great for his age. I don't know what he looked like before, but he couldn't have looked that bad because I remember him being in the other movies and he looks like this, but slightly younger. So I don't know, but maybe Terrence Howard just showed him a picture of a different black guy and Joe Rogan was like, oh, you look way different now, Snoop. Whatever your name is.
I'm a crackhead. I don't know. I don't trust people.
That's the realest shit I ever heard. I told you he smokes crack. I knew it. 12 minutes in, he finally admits I'm a crackhead. There it is. Once you stop basing crack, then you're fine. Then you stop getting unified theories yourself.
They're like, oh, that was a directed anger. That was a purposeful anger to wake you up to something. And then they find out they have a girlfriend.
He did a Kanye here, so I'll actually break down what he was saying. He was saying that people get angry because the people who claim they've got the most patience or they're the most high up, like gurus or self-help people, and then those self-help people eventually come down to our level where they're proven to be human, who get just as angry, do sinful things like cheat or whatever, and you start to realize you've put all your time and energy and effort into someone who is probably no different than you, and you start to feel jaded. That's what he was trying to say. The words, sometimes I feel like his brain is like faster than the words come out of his mouth, but I don't know why he said that, but that is what he was saying.
Very first episode he had was talking about Giordano Bruno.
Don't know what's happening here. Just go with it.
And when they do it, it's going to change the world. And I'm like, dude, I've done it. I've got it here.
I think he was talking about the show Cosmos, in which Neil deGrasse Tyson says someone might be able to find a theory that will progress humanity. And Terrence Howard took that shit personally. He's like the Michael Jordan of science. He's competitive. Albert Einstein is like Larry Bird. He like dunked on him, nuts all over his face. Isaac Newton is like Dwayne Wade. Dunked on him. Terrence Howard is Michael Jordan of science. And Neil deGrasse Tyson, of course, is LeBron James. At this point, Joe Rogan is like, even me, the great Joe Rogan, needs you to calm the fuck down so I can actually figure out what you're saying, because there's just way too many paths that you're going down. He's like choosing all the options in like a multiple choice thing. He just clicked on everything.
Walter Russell talked about the fact that the sun gave birth to the earth, that it didn't coalesce from some field. Do you guys know that the earth is drifting away from the sun?
No. Say more.
and the authorities that give the politicians their accreditation. And those authorities, those universities, are all based, their entire curriculum is based off the Platonic solids.
Damn. I don't know what that means, but I didn't know that any of this happened. What are we talking about here? I thought we were talking about the sun. Whose sun are we talking about? What?
You drop your phone?
I've dropped my phone a number of times.
Why are we talking about phone drop? What are we? Is this gravity? Oh my god, what is happening? He was talking about the sun. Now he's talking about someone's son. Now he's talking about a phone, which he probably has a picture of his son on. I don't. What is happening really?
But
You ever think that that might be what's going on with your
and
phone?
then I buy another phone, and the
Same
same
thing
thing
happens.
happens. I'm 5
You get
minutes.
burners?
I used to, but then my wife would think I was cheating.
She would never think that, Terrance. I mean, you go on these shows, nobody thinks you're cheating on them. They think you're cheating life, bro. You're doing equations and grand unified theory. I don't think you're cheating on hoes. I really don't think anybody would want to do that right now. Terrance, you might as well get some burner phones. I think you'd benefit from them.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, I don't need that. I don't need that. I made that mistake way too early, in our relationship, and it cost me 8 years of toil and pain.
We should unpack that at some point because he never really ever brings that up again. But apparently a burner phone cost him 8 years of pain. So guys, girls, don't get a burner phone. If you got 2 phones, make sure one's for work and the other one's also for work.
But I ultimately made it back, and I'm so glad that, we produce 1,500 sperm per heartbeat. Amount of
What? Oh, what? Brother, is that true? Can someone verify that? 1,500 sperm per heartbeat. Guys or girls? Or both? What? Okay. It's a lot of sperm every... How many? What? Wait, 1 second. Heartbeats 100,000 times a day. Times 1,500 sperm. I'm producing 150 million sperm a day. Ew. That's a lot.
So the number of years that it will take for the Earth to move 1 mile is 105,600 years.
Okay, all right. So after the sperm talk, now that we know that he just proved that men are horny, I don't know if you needed any scientific evidence. You could just walk outside. That would be fine. But now we're back on to the Earth moving away from the sun, and in 100,000 years, it's going to move.
It would take 9,820,800,000,000 years for the Earth to get here.
Oh my God, we better get moving then, right?
In maybe 5 or 6 trillion years, Venus will be right here, and humanoids will appear again at CERN.
Well, what the fuck is humanoids? Why you just drop words out like that from your ass and not explain? Is a humanoid something I should know about? Is that a human? Is he just saying the word oid at the end? What? What the fuck? What? Why? So in a couple trillion years, humanoids are gonna invade us? Oh my God, I'm gonna be a couple trillion years older, but I think I can do this.
That Hadron Collider, that particle accelerator, I believe they did the same thing, and they popped their planet.
Oh. Oh. Whoa, that sounds vaguely sexual. Oh, damn. Popping poles and planets up here in the fucking hydro. That's crazy.
The sun is the origin of these planets.
Of all the planets. That's why I went on the Emmys, and I was like, look, I've got something else to do. I've been able to rebuild Saturn.
Yeah, I do remember when they asked Terrance Howard a question about the Emmys, and then he talked about the platonic solids, and they were like, oh my God, is this a role for his new movie, The Crazy Man? That was not the right place. Going to Hollywood and trying to express yourself in any way other than the conformist way is just not gonna work. Sorry, Terrance, that was the wrong place to do it. He's a good actor, Terrance, but damn, he went to the hosts of shows, they ask, what are you wearing, or who are you wearing? They're the least qualified people to ever listen to advice that you have to give. Even if it's not great advice, it's still, I feel like Terrance should have been treated better now that I think about it.
Without gravity.
It was retarded.
This is...
Well, okay then, Joe. Alright. Yeah, shit, this is the most scientific conversation we've ever had.
Everything has this expiration, and there's a loss to everything when the universe is perfectly balanced. This is rebuilding the planet Saturn.
Oh, yeah, sorry, yes. So he was at the Emmys. They asked him, what are you doing? And he said, I'm rebuilding Saturn. And then the girl definitely, she was like, what? And the guy just didn't understand, so he just re-asked.
I'm putting something on YouTube where I will build the planet Saturn without gravity and build the Milky Way galaxy without gravity.
Yeah, it turns out Terrance Howard in his spare time is building a planet that's already existing. What does this mean for humanity? I don't know, but the humanoids are going to be here in 2 trillion years, so we better figure ourselves out.
You know what's going on.
Government,
They do not want you. We're about to kill gravity.
So before Terrance Howard can kill gravity itself, the government, as he says, is actually stopping young Jamie from pulling up the video for like 3 or 4 times. So at this point in the 3 hours segment, at different intervals, the video doesn't play. It eventually does. So I guess the government was just like tweaking and stuff. I don't know if they really were messing with him, but Terrance really thinks he is about to drop some mind-blowing shit. And it is a simulation of how they rebuild Saturn.
So this is the proof that the universe is not infinite, but finite.
Damn! Everyone's catching strays. The universe. Stray. Called a stray. I thought the universe was ever expanding. It turns out the universe is just a bitch. There's an end to it. I guess that's true. I don't know how many planets there are, but there's a finite number. Thanks, Terrance.
So you have a sun. And how does the sun give birth to these planets?
The same way we defecate and...
It shits them out, huh? The sun shits out other planets, does it? Let me write that one down. I've never heard that in the science books. You know, I'd be so much more interested in science if my science teacher said, do you know what the sun does, Leo? I'd be like, what? Shits out Venus, Uranus? It shits out Uranus.
Then it will rotate its way around and slowly be pushed out by the solar wind of everything is just one great being.
I've done some solar wind myself. You know what you mean, Terrance? Definitely understand what you're talking about here. The gas of the planets form to create an atmosphere, and I assume that is how planets are made. I don't know, but I guess the sun has formed the planets. I didn't know that. I am in the position of Joe Rogan, where I'm sitting down saying, oh, okay. But at the same time, Joe being super open-minded, I want to at least play the devil's advocate and be like, that doesn't sound right, but okay. So that's where we are here.
We're all God.
Okay, then. So we're all God as well, because we also poop out planets, and those planets go straight to the sewer and then to the sea. So the next time you think you're deep diving and you're actually seeing like the newest creature in the ocean, it's just Brad's poo-poo, but it's a planet to someone.
You want to know what my first patent was? The entire AR, VR world was built off of my first patent that was abandoned.
So then Terrance drops a bombshell that Mark Zuckerberg wasn't the person to start VR. In fact, VR was invented by Terrance Howard himself. So Mark Zuckerberg is a thief. And you know what? That's true. I watched The Social Network. He is. So maybe Terrance Howard is right.
A system and method of merging virtual reality sensory detail from a remote site into a room environment at a local site. The system preferably includes at least one...
So it turns out Terrance Howard actually did patent this pretty early. It looks like it's his. It says it's Terrance Howard's, and the sad part is if it's true, the patent actually like ended, and then everyone decided VR is going to become a thing. So I don't know if he lost out on money. I don't know if this is true, but VR technically obviously didn't start with Terrance Howard. It started like in the 80s.
A display system compromising display devices.
I've invented a new form of flight.
Oh, shit. Okay, so in between inventing VR, he also invents a new form of flight. Terrance Howard is doing more than the average man. In fact, he's doing the work of like 100,000 men at the same time. His brain is just super high functioning. Oh, that just looks like 3 drones squashed together. What? Okay. All right. I didn't think... Well, when he said a new form of flight, I thought he was going to be like, you know, like you just... take off. I don't know, he's just putting drones together. This looks like a soccer ball when you took like some of the squares off and put like fucking propellers on. Okay, all right.
Explain what it does? Explain, when you said flight, what do you mean?
Tangential flight.
What does that mean? What? Tangerine flight? Oh, okay. All right. Okay, he's all right. I need to bone up on my knowledge, man. This dude just pulls out those words. He says it like, you know, when someone's super smart, just they say the word as like a condescending matter of fact. Tangential flight. Haven't you heard of it? All the kids are doing it these days.
The direction. They just, so it's a collective pitch and it changes. And so now instead of going up, you're going down, but now 5 of them will come together. So this is the end of cranes.
Oh, shit. Fuck cranes, bro. I don't know. Yeah, all right. I mean, that's another stray quote there. I didn't think of all the things he was going to say. Cranes would be the first to get it. But yeah, cranes. Kiss my ass. And you know what? I was just thinking about it. When you use an actual drone shot, they used to use cranes in films to get that high shot. So he's not wrong. Fuck cranes.
It was retarded.
Oh, okay.
Are we going to be able to put people on Saturn? No. It's too nebulous. It's expanded out too far.
What I think is happening, what I think he's saying, I'm trying to really honestly sit here and not just be like, this is crazy. Planes obviously have a center of gravity, and what Terrance is trying to do is create a ball that flies. So you can turn 360 degrees. Now, if you have passengers on a plane that just turns like a ball, you'll have a bunch of vomit. That's basically what that's going to equate to, because I don't think the human equilibrium can actually do that. That's why only certain people can be like in those like fighter jets and stuff. The average person probably can't stand like 2-3 G's of gravity. Hey, if it works, it works. Maybe Terrance Howard is inventing a new form of flight, and then hopefully what this means for the average consumer is flight prices will go down, because honestly, there is no way I'm ever going to get to Bali at these prices. So thanks, Terrance.
Patented it as a gun because I didn't want anybody else to be able to use it like a gun, but it's basically lightning in a bottle. We take water and we put it inside of a small chamber based on the wave conjugations that I have.
Right, of course.
And the angles of incidence.
Yeah. All
and
of
we
us
run an
following
electric
this,
charge.
yes. Yeah, carry on, Terrance. Is it just me, or like I watch so much of this is starting to make sense now? He's like one of these crazy scientists, and it's like, this might be so crazy that it just might work. Yeah, okay, so he's trying to put lightning in a bottle, which was a theory and also just a phrase, but now it's an actual thing that Terrance Howard is doing.
And it converts the gas dimension into a power dimension, so it's lightning out of the barrel just from water, and there's no end like with.
So it's a real lightning gun, like
Yes.
from Quake.
Yeah, you didn't know what Quake was. Don't just say yes. You don't know that.
It converts into a plasma, and so we can project anything into space.
Oh my god, he figured out space travel. Oh, dude, I was just trying to fly to Bali. Imagine trying to go like to Bali, or like going from New York to like New Jersey or something, and then someone flies you in a bottle straight to space instead because it goes so fast. That's crazy. Imagine that. You're making 2 stops, one to the moon and then back to New York.
All of that has been accomplished.
Oh, it's done. Okay, well, I guess he flew to the moon. Okay.
They're heavier at the poles than they are at the equator. And the further away from the Earth you go, the less it goes. So there's no consistency about gravity.
He goes on like that. But I mean, honestly, I don't know. There's one side of me that is now like, damn, maybe gravity does suck. I don't know, again, how this helps in my everyday life. I can't go to like buy groceries and be like, gravity sucks, because I'll still have to pay the money. But okay, all right.
I wish I could really truly understand exactly what you're saying.
Yes, me too. Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel watching this. I don't know, is this guy so mad that he's right, or is he so right that he's crazy?
What do you think a black hole is?
It doesn't exist.
What did he say? I didn't actually hear that.
It doesn't exist.
Oh shit, black holes don't exist, bitch. Damn, there's no such thing. This again doesn't help my everyday life because I don't think much about black holes. But hey, okay.
In your model, what happens to these suns when they supernova?
Everything gets old and die.
I mean, that's one way to explain science. How do you explain aliens? Everything crazy, bro. That's the scientific explanation for something. Everything gets old and die. As we all know, I think suns explode. They're like a hot molten thing, and then it implodes on itself, creating a black hole that sucks anything near it into its void. That's what science has taught us, but I guess everything get old and die is the actual theory. So he didn't disprove black holes. He just agreed.
If you're right, so many people are wrong.
Everyone's wrong. Oh, well, the universe backs me up.
Shots. Everyone's wrong. I'm wrong. You're wrong. YouTube's wrong. Vivo, Bebo, Grebo, Lebo, Nebo. I don't even know what that is. All of those are wrong. Everything is wrong except Terrance Howard. How does it feel to wake up and be the most right person ever? Even the Wright brothers weren't this fucking right. And they actually invented flight. But not like Terrance Howard. He invented flight.
You have all these physicists that's saying something different, but none of them have 97 patents.
Boom. That's how you're right. If you ever want to be right, just patent 97 things. I'm going to stop patenting things after this video. I'm going to stop patenting like this. I don't know what that is. This, I'm like having my hand. It's kind of in a claw. Nobody's allowed to do this anymore. Mine. So if I get 96 more, I can be right.
None of them have introduced a new form of flight with unlimited mid-air bonding.
Honestly, dude, that sounds like a phone plan. Unlimited mid-air bonding sounds like a phone plan where it's like you can get Tinder in the air and you can swipe right or left on the person sitting next to you on a plane. I don't know if it's really a good thing, plane orgies, but hey, Terrance, we're not even going to be flying in planes if you have your Euclidean bonding very soon, so... we'll see.
None of them have discovered 4 supersymmetrical systems. There's no government on this planet that has the technology that I have or can outdo what I have, because you can't outdo the fractal.
Is the Fracto his name? Is that his evil name? You can't outdo the Fracto? Is that like a bar that he just dropped? He has more power than the governments. Oh my God. Can you imagine being the US government shaking in your boots knowing the only thing more powerful than you is Russia, China, and then Terrance Howard? That's like 2 countries. And the dude from Hustle and country with 1 billion people, and the dude who sang "It's Hard Out Here for a Pump" like the dude. This is the most powerful dudes in the world.
Oxford did something that broke my heart.
Didn't invite you back, I know.
They wouldn't allow me to have a screen and show my proof. We've been living in this lie, this fostered lie, for so long.
By the way, Oxford, I don't know if you're... Why would you ever watch this? But if you're watching Terrance Howard's video and you actually did that, you should invite him back and let him show his thing. Like, genuinely, if the dude was coming on and had this agenda and Oxford was like, no, we're just going to make him talk about acting, and he didn't want to, Oxford is then being the D-bags here for not letting him actually express himself. I thought that this was a part of a conversation we have. It's not that any conversation is stupid. You actually should be open enough to have them, even if you think that the person is not being right. But yeah, don't invite someone there if you're not going to actually listen to them. Although I don't know if it's actually true, because Terrance Howard has said some things that have been pretty tall tales. So we'll see.
And I've already produced all of these things.
Could you explain that though to the layperson? How does the universe multiply volumetrically as a...
Thank you, Joe, thank you so much. It's almost the end of the interview, but thank you for clarifying that. Could you explain it to like us mortals, how any of this works?
Can you imagine running at 186,624 miles a second in one direction, and you hit a wall, and you've got to stop, bounce off of that wall, and then you pick up your speed and you bounce off the next wall? How much heat are you building up?
Oh my God, it's just making sense. When people run like 200 meters, they do like an oval. Nobody does a 90-degree thing. I don't know. Wait, but electricity is not people, and electricity can make the 90-degree turn. My head is now emitting electricity. Some of the stuff is like, it sounds like science, but you know, it's the same thing. You know when you have like those guys who lift weights at the gym and then they give you bro science, and it's like all of you can hear the protein coming out of their like mouth. When they talk, and they're like, oh man, like if you 23% more lift, if you just lift like this, bro. And you can just see all of the enzymes like frothing at the dude's mouth. This is the same thing. It's like, is he really making sense? Or like to the bros, is he making sense? Do you know what I mean? So I don't know what category I fall.
You're able to utilize all that energy so you don't need the cooling systems.
So essentially, what this is saying is that for the average PC gamer, the people who create CPUs, NVIDIA, and Intel, you guys are all doing us a disservice. You should make circular chips. Now, I don't know why they haven't. According to Terrance Howard, if you do that, you don't need fans in your PC. Terrance Howard taught us how to fly. He invented new planes. He told us that planets shit out other planets. That's funny. And now he's rebuilding computers. What is this dude not doing? I guess acting, the thing that he shouldn't be doing. The one thing that he actually should be doing, he's not. But everything else he's doing.
Comes together. But even
Where did he pull that out from? I didn't even know he had. What the hell is that?
from its real perspective, you see that it's not. The straight lines are an illusion. So all these homes that they're building, and they keep wondering why.
Okay, so he's, boulders catching strays, cranes catching strays, planes, everything. I don't know, man. I'm getting taken back by this. This is sounding more and more like real. What does this mean for us, though? What does it mean that we don't have straight lines? How does that affect? Is that gonna help us? Or I don't...
Follow the curvature of nature, and you won't have to worry about...
Oh, okay. So apparently people who get their houses blown over by tornadoes and stuff shouldn't have straight homes. They should have mushroom houses. That way tornado won't attack it, because tornadoes don't attack mushrooms. We all know that.
Building them in hurricane zones or in tornado zones. It'll go right over it.
People would just trip balls.
I don't know if that's necessarily true, that if you build your house in more of a circular shape, a tornado won't wreck the shit out of it. I don't know if that's true. Like, it seems like by Terrance Howard's logic, if you built your house as a submarine house and a tsunami hit it, it would miss your house. Like, I don't know if that is the most sound logic that I've ever heard in my life, but here, he's cooking. This is the epitome of let him cook for 3 hours.
It's like I can completely change the lighting industry. Louis Armstrong.
Oh my God, he's changing lighting? Lighting? I thought you were trying to fly up to like the space. Okay, all right. Terrance Howard is gonna fix my light bulb when this is done. He's changing lighting. There's so many industries this man has changed. 96, what did he say? 97 different patents. And all of them are big patents. It's not like little things. He's changing lighting. He's changing people's homes. He's changing lines. Oprah was changing lives. This guy's changing lines.
So I was recording things, and if I'd had phone sex with some...
So at this point, Terrance Howard now talks about like something more real about his life and sort of like his struggles when he went through domestics and then also stuff with him and Iron Man and how they didn't want him back, and it's pretty real. And this is the stuff that I think he should have started with, so we could connect more as people before he started calling us humanoids.
Girl, I was recording that. If we were having sex,
nice. That's okay. Don't know if you should be saying that, disclosing that, but all right, cool.
I recorded that because I wanted to make...
No, that's actually illegal. So don't time out, Terrance. Hey man, if you're gonna change the world, you might not want to do it from jail cell. Okay, so you can't record people without their consent. That's fucking illegal.
Doing Iron Man, out of nowhere, that gets taken away. We did a 3-picture deal.
Yeah, I want to just say that the reason that he was talking about this whole story, I couldn't add it all in here, but what he was talking about is his ex-wife, who said that he wanted all of the recordings. Thing that he said, like in this long-winded thing, was he also recorded conversations with his mom before she passed away. And the wife actually took all of his recordings because of the other stuff that he filmed and burnt all of them, including the conversations with his mom. And that really affected him. So this is a really sad thing that happened. Now, I know on one end, probably shouldn't have been filming the sex, but like on the other end, like he just wanted the tapes with his mom back. And I kind of, on some level, wish that he had got that. So that is very sad.
We want to come back for $1 million instead of the $8 million that we had agreed to. And my agent had an emotional reaction to a business decision, and he said, F you, and hung up the phone. Well, immediately they go to Don Cheadle.
Well, you know what? I agree as well, because if you said that you signed it, and then they somehow said, well, I'm going to pay you $7 million less, not even an emotional reaction. If you sign the paper, that's a pretty much a business reaction. You can take them to court, because that's a legal binding. So I don't think anyone signed it, because hopefully Terrance would have got his money back, but that seems really sad. I didn't actually watch Iron Man, but now I really want to see if Terrance slipped in any, like, what is it, Euclidean lines every now and again in his... I'm not sure. Who would have thought the most interesting man from Iron Man was not Robert Downey Jr., but Terrance Howard?
I was angry. I was really angry. And I was going...
So at this part, like, you might have we almost watched the whole 3 hours. Everyone is like either on Terrance's side or not. But if you're on Terrance's side, now he proceeds to say the funniest shit I've ever heard in my life.
Going to use all of the knowledge that I had, and I was going to destroy mankind.
Holy shit. So for 3 hours, we've been listening to all of his stuff, how he's more powerful than Russia, and I guess the movie Rush Hour, China as well. He turned light into sound. He shits out planets, or whatever he does. Now he's going to actually use his powers to destroy mankind because they didn't hire him for Iron Man 2. Can you imagine the Earth, the Big Bang Theory happened and all the dinosaurs exploded, and then millions of years in the future, they're like, what happened? Why did the Earth die? Terrence Howard didn't get hired for Iron Man 2, so he blew up Earth. That's a very specific thing to kill mankind over, I gotta say. All right, Terrence.
This is Jesus walking on water.
No, it's not. That's not that. You can't say that. That can't be that. That's really abstract, Terrence.
Why is it that white people are allergic to the sun?
Oh, damn. All right, white people catching strays. This is really, he's going after everyone. White people allergic. That sounds like a comedy. Like it comes out, why is white people allergic to the sun?
Because they've lived inside of a pressure condition where there was not as much sun there.
A house.
Everything is alive.
Everything is conscious.
Everything is, like, if you take it from the biblical thing, what part of the universe wasn't made from the creator? Okay, let's unpack this. If we are...
So at this point, once you talked about everything in this podcast, we might as well start talking about the creator himself, religion, the Bible, and all else. I mean, we're touching on everything here. So this is the last segment. Terrence Howard is going to... he just showed you what Jesus looked like, so that's good.
98.7% identical to simians, right?
Right.
That's how you start off with the Bible, where the theory of evolution by Charles Darwin. That's pretty much the first page of the Bible. Thanks, Terrence Howard. I'm sure those two are the same.
We're consider ourselves to be more evolved. But you look at the simians, they have 48 chromosomes. We only have 46.
In my experience, Terrence, and I think humanity, the more chromosomes you have, it doesn't equal the better, the more evolved you are. Sometimes being born with an extra chromosome is not always people don't aspire to do that all the time, Terrence. I don't know if you know the allegations with that one, but you should look at it.
It's a very, very, very fascinating point. It's real. It's not debatable.
Doesn't it scream manipulation from an external force?
Something.
Wow, that's definitely crazy. So this is what I thought this whole episode was going to be about. Joe Rogan says something that's, we can actually see in science, like the human brain evolving in size way faster than when it first did. And then instantly, Terrence Howard points to the fact that maybe aliens did this, which is gangster. Fits perfectly on Joe Rogan. If you said that at Oxford, they'd be like, get out. But here it's like, all right, welcome in, bro.
And then we find these fucking bones, these dead soldiers, surrounded by gold coins. It's crazy,
One
right?
of the greatest things about the linchpin is it's also submersible.
Oh, man, we were actually having a normal conversation. I was so interested in a very valid question as to why a material that seems to have absolutely no inherent value is the most sought after currency in the world. And instantly Terrence Howard is like, you know what else is good about my linchpin flying machines? I'll tell you. Oh, Terrence, why?
So one of the main points is they didn't know I had all these other patents surrounding it they had no idea, but its usage. If they use it, the world changes in a beautiful way. If they ignore it,
Terrence Howard can literally change the world if we just use his stuff.
if they ignore it, we cease to exist.
Oh my God, if we don't use Terrence Howard's stuff, we're gonna die. Can you guys use Terrence Howard? This is the best plug I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen someone be like, if you actually use my stuff, you will live. And if you don't, everyone's gonna die, so.
Galaxy is spinning and acting on it,
So
and now
there's
the
all
planet
these forces
is pushing
down.
in. So if you decouple from them,
Then you have no force pushing you through, and you can essentially travel instantaneously to anywhere if you have the right frequency.
Okay, so my final takeaway away from this, and I don't know if I'm just really high, like I got a contact high watching this, is that Terrance and Joe have identified that if you can turn your body by decoupling into a frequency like sound, you can travel faster. I don't know how we're gonna do that, but it's so stupid it makes sense.
It's all frequency. Now, I discovered half of this stuff while I was still watching porn.
What the hell? Where did that come from, brother? Was that a promotion for that? Did they paid him to say that, huh?
It's not like I was some.
Let's do this again. We're going to do this
I
again.
would love that.
All right, well, that's the final takeaway. I thought you just watch some pornos and you might actually start figuring out the world here. Eventually, Joe Rogan says, come back on. And I gotta be honest, I'd love to see this man back on. When I first heard about him, I thought he was a crazy dude. I watched 2 different things. I watched him go to Africa to try and like pitch his ideas to Ugandan presidents. And now he's finally on Joe Rogan. Someone's given him a platform. And I think that he's definitely a out there guy. I mean, he tried to destroy mankind over not getting Iron Man 2. But when he's not being, out there, he seems okay.
100%. I can't
Reach
wait.
out to Elon Musk, man. It's and Jeff Bezos if they want to finish.
I don't know Jeff,
all this,
but I know Elon.
Elon, I got his solution.
Well, I mean, I guess from now on we'll have to contact Elon Musk. So let's think about all of the stuff we learned today because it's a lot. I stopped writing down because I was so interested in the last things, but let's try and remember. Terrance remembers before he was born, which is crazy. 5 years old, he talked to God, which turned out to be himself in the future telling him everything. He knows the flower of life and Euclidean theories. He actually knows that if you divide light by 2, you get sound, which seems like a pretty good equation. Nobody likes Euclidean women, which basically just means you have to be curvy. So Latinas are non-Euclidean or Brazilian people. That's very good. The sun shits out planets. That's just a fact, apparently. Terrance also figured out how to fly by decoupling, and he tried to destroy mankind. So
now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
that is all within the 3-hour session that we learned today. I don't know if this has benefited you, but I think that by watching this, I feel like a smarter man. Either because I've listened to 2 smart people or listened to 2 people that made me feel smarter. I'm not sure which it is, but definitely I got something out of this. Thank you, Terrance. Please don't destroy us if Iron Man 4 ever comes out. I just don't want to die over a sequel. Thanks, Terrance, for everything you do. That was Terrance Howard. I would love to see the reaction here. If someone could tell me anything he was saying, I would love to hear it. I don't know what to think of the dude. I will say he's a very passionate person. He's not hurting anyone. And I am all for listening to some of the more out there theories. Why not, right? With that said, thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I hope to see you on the next wild video. Bye.
She ain't even gotta ask, she did a dash and bit the last. You know a dash and she know